Wayne Jones that amount of leeway. That's the darts, 3-6 the score.
Game on.
Just when we were wondering if Jones was going to have one of these exasperating days when he didn't really fire properly, signs are that he could reinvigorate his performance.
Yeah, let in there, wasn't he? He did earn the right to have a shot at 46 with a previous brilliant effort. 181 down to there. But Mawson really let him off, it has to be said.
54.
And now, Mawson not as convincing as he was 2 or 3 legs ago. And Jones will sense that and will try and step in. But I get the impression anxiety is creeping more and more into his game and reflecting itself in his scoring and his body language.
60.
Well, both of these players, John, will be looking. They're in the quarterfinals. There's some very big names have fallen by the wayside. There's still a few big names left in. But they will surely be thinking, I can go all the way here.
You've got to, when you get to the quarterfinal of any competition, including the FA Cup of Darts, you've got to think, well, Cardiff City felt that and they went all the way.
But
90.
is there a Portsmouth among the darts players?
Well, Andy Jenkins would have been the ideal man to answer that question for us, but he too departed some time ago. But I'm sure there's somebody, if not from Pompey of Pomp, who in the end will lift that trophy tonight.
If he could manage this 156, it would be impressive, but he won't be too concerned because he knows his rival can't finish on 204 next on the mark.
Yeah, they're both labouring a touch at the moment. This is a vital stage in this game. By rights, Mawson ought to be in control, and that ought to be reflected in his play. Good ton. But it's a while now since we've had 140, 180.
Treble 20 would leave 16. Just got to tidy it up.
60.
Well, left the door open for Mawson. 104. Single 16 for double top to steal the leg.
61.
Well, again, misses the vital double. He wasn't missing those earlier in the contest. Nice way of going for 104, that though. Mawson nearly made it. Now Jones needs double 9 for 6-4 and to hold his throw. He's not going to hold his throw. Vital moment, could be a killer. Mawson now tops for 7-3, and it rectifies the fact that he lost the 9th leg with the darts, but still needs to pin double 10. He does. 7-3 now to Mawson, and the shake of the head from Jones that says it all. We'll be back soon to see whether there's a Jones fight back or more from Mawson.
This afternoon's mouth-watering menu. Gary Mawson just 3 legs away from victory against Wayne Jones. A bit of a surprise there. And coming next, Van der Voort, runner-up last year against the outsider Thompson. The rivals in action, Barneveld and Taylor. Doesn't get any better, folks. And rounding it off, James Wade, the Crown Prince against Alan Tapper. What a prospect.
Yeah, 2 left-handers involved there, 2 great left-handers as well. Meanwhile, whilst we're on board 1 in the practice room, there's Vincent van der Voort getting ready. Next on stage against the lad from York. There he is, Chris Thompson, the hitman. And a great tournament, Thompson. Not just these 4 days, but right through the UK Open qualifiers, all the heats. He's actually ranked at number 11, which shows how much he's put in, Dave, in qualifying for this event at Bolton. Anyway, two lads who qualified are these two. 7-3 to Mawson. There's going to be a man from the States in the semis, unless
60.
the lad from Wolverhampton can start hitting more than just 60.
And you just wonder if he has that extra gear in his game. Mawson knows he only has to defend the legs with his throw, and he'll be in those semi-finals, which really, before the tournament started, I would have thought would have been a little bit beyond even his dreams. But that's the magic of this format. It has been shown in past years. This is the sixth staging. We have had outsiders who've made a blindside run. Barry Bates has made the final, Walsh has made the final, Shane Burgess made the final, and Van der Voort last year made the final, and I wouldn't put it past him this year either, you know, John.
Amazing, yeah. Well, Gary, I was with Gary on Tuesday night with John Part. The two did an exhibition in Manchester, Earlham, and he certainly didn't give any indication that he didn't feel as though he couldn't win this. He's a quietly confident individual, and whilst, yes, you're quite right, Dave, he's an outsider. He would acknowledge that, and he did acknowledge that. But it's amazing how many of these players do have a good deal of self-belief, particularly in this type of competition where you do have to play 2, 3, 4 games in a day.
And of course, you know that, like has happened at the moment, the big guns could be knocking each other out.
Yes, exactly.
140.
Yes. So 101 for Jones, and you feel that if he's going to make a comeback, this is where it has to start. Double 12, good way of doing it. Oh, right on the wire, and is it now going to be 8-3?
75, 17 maybe. 18 would leave 40. Double top, big dart, this one.
Oh, is it just? He gets it, and well, that's going to hurt Jones, because he almost hit the double 12, which would have made it 7-4. Now there's 5 legs difference between them. Is this where Woody starts his revival? Because if there's going to be one, it's got to start soon. Great 180. His second. They've in fact had 2 maximums apiece.
55.
So Wayne Jones, who quite reasonably we reckon to be the performer here, had a much better average and record, but he just hasn't really fired consistently, John, has he?
He hasn't, Dave, and Mawson in the main has been the more consistent player since the outset. Went into a 4-1 lead the first session, won the second session 3-2, and he's won up in this third session. So that's how the players often play these match play games, legs only, where there's a break every 5 legs, session by session. It's a compensation for set by set, if you like, or a correlation to set by set.
74.
Yes, there are some players that come out of the breaks much better than others. Equally, if you're on a roll, you don't want to break, but that's part of the format of the game, and these top pros have learned to live with that kind of equation.
If Sid was playing in this tournament, he would win it, Chris from Londonderry says. Believe you me, Chris, I've seen Sid play darts, and I certainly wouldn't be putting my money on him, as Wayne Jones wins that leg, deserves it, got his second 180 during it.
Just got the feeling there that Mawson realised he'd lost